Welcome to BinBusters. Today we're going to talk about getting mud on our boots again, but what we're doing.
Yeah, talk a little bit about in-season management practice, whether it be corn or soybeans. Today we're obviously in a soybean here at our Waterford plot. We're taking a look at some things as a lot of beans are going into flowering, or some have already started to flower, what that's going to look like. Some guys have made their post-application, some have not. With some of the replant that we've had in this area and surrounding areas, Jonah, what that's going to look like. So if you're going back in a crop, we need to kind of decide or look and see what we need to be putting in that tank.
Yeah, definitely. Some things we saw today, obviously insect feeding, definitely becoming a big issue right now. We see them every year. We see jack beetles.
Yeah, and it's been both corn and soybeans. What
Yep.
we saw earlier in that corn, was astounding. And I think as we go in with that V8, V9 plant health application, that insecticide is going to get a free ride.
Definitely. I know on our side, we went ahead and did that plant health application on the corn already. Did a little early, but we had the opportunity, so we took advantage of it. The bean side, we're gearing up to do it right now, getting close to it. Tell me what you're seeing on your beans, Doug. I know yours we're planted just a little bit behind ours, but still in a timely fashion.
So when you say a little bit behind, you're talking like 6 weeks?
5.5, but who's counting?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gap there. So our beans, I think, look okay, and I know you and I went back and forth on this. I'm pretty hard on them. You think I'm probably a little too hard on them. They look good. We're getting ready to, they're clean, so we're getting ready to make that plant health pass application now. We're going to do some early fungicide. We're going to do, based off the tissue test results we got, we kind of had a gut feel what we were going to do. Same program we've done the last several years. Now we just kind of took a tissue test to true that up and make sure we're on track with that farm. So
yeah. So one thing we did on our, Doug, with we talked about last episode, that we had the in-furrow versus no in-furrow. We saw a huge difference in the roots,
Yes.
the plants. So we went ahead and tissue sampled both of those, in-furrow versus no in-furrow. We had the results. Weren't as big of a difference as we expected, but we did see a difference. So we're hoping to see later on in the season, especially as these plants develop more, see, obviously more nutrient uptake. So we did see that. That's one big thing we noticed. But as far as the beans, the corn goes, we made kind of a standard pass, like you said, what we kind of did last year.
Yeah.
Tried a new product this year, kind of excited about it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Some of the things we've done, and you talked about tissue testing, and I've done a lot more tissue testing on corn, and we've talked about this before. I seem like I get so focused on corn that my beans just sit in the back seat of the truck for a while. But with corn, we've done a lot of testing there, and some of those products that we tried early, we're starting to see a noticeable difference on the tissue test as far as nutrient uptake. With we went through that period of hail.
Yes.
My corn got riddled with hail. And then we went through that hot, dry period. So now, to look at a tissue test and see what's in that plant content versus what we've done as far as biological stress mitigation, things of that nature, to gauge the tissue test values in that versus where we didn't do that, there's a noticeable difference.
So you're seeing a difference, obviously, in your biologicals.
Absolutely.
The biologicals are increasing the nutrient uptake, which is huge for you.
Absolutely.
That corn plant, remind everybody, when's that year determined? Your length and girth, at what point?
So that's a very early thing for us, and what we're going to do now, and why that V8, V9 application for us is so critical, is that's when the ear leaf comes out.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the concentration of those micros, we're trying to lay boron down into that plant to get it loaded going into the reproductive part. So, those are just some small things that we're doing, we're noticing. And even though we make adjustments on the micros early, you still see that on tissue tests that you're going to have to spoon feed these because they're going to run out of gas. And we simply, with our soils, cannot front load enough of that stuff economically.
Exactly. So let's switch gears, talk about beans again a little bit.
Go back to your favorite crop. Let's just talk about
that's fine. So
want to talk about alfalfa next?
Yeah, we can. Actually, we can talk about wheat real quick. Wheat's coming off really well. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I got a few Snapchats from you. They look like some pretty aggressive wheat.
Yeah, very happy with that. But let's go back to the beans. You and I just left the field 10 minutes ago. We dug a couple plants. What would you say, Doug? Are you happy with them?
I don't think happy's the word.
I'm excited.
I'm so impressed and excited to see what this fall brings. I know I'm going to have good beans probably, but there's no way that I'm going to come close to what I saw today.
So I kind of feel the same way on the corn. I always say you have the advantage on the corn on me because of the way your planter's set up. It's very impressive, but yeah, your corn is extremely powerful. We walked that FTN plot earlier and definitely seeing results in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But your beans, back to that, I'm floored with what we're getting as far as the branching and the things that you've done to that plant to keep it stress free, to where they don't have a bad day. You know, and they got a little bit of hail, probably not as bad as what some of that corn and stuff did a little bit west of there, but to see how they bounce back from that is amazing.
So something else along the bean line, you know, I was out in them, you know, this past week looking at them, and we always talked about slugs and the issues we had this year. You know, we looked at plants that were R1, and I saw slugs feeding on them still.
Absolutely. You sent me that text at 6
o'clock in the morning.
6:05 in the morning. You're like, hey, just got a picture of 2 to 3 slugs on a plant. I can't remember what it was, but you know, for us to see slugs this time of year is amazing.
And that's something that goes back to
amazing and depressing, I should say.
Yeah, but we still need to scout. You know, we need to be vigilant about scouting our crops and seeing what they need, even as we get later in the season. Don't give up yet. We have a lot of growing season ahead of us yet.
Yeah, and we kind of learned that last year. You know, we was always hard on my beans because they were late planted, June 1 planted. So, but that just shows it. You know, stay on your crop, stay aggressive. You can still maintain and gain a lot of bushels too. So
exactly.
And with the way the commodity market's looking after a little rebound a couple of days ago, I think it's time to be a little aggressive with the foot on the gas. What else do you want to add? You want to talk a little bit more about this all-star week?
No.
No?
No, sir.
If you need help baling that straw, man, just don't call me.
You're welcome. I'll be giving your son a call. Well, guys, until next time, thanks for joining us.
We certainly appreciate it, and we want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July weekend.
We got the red and white, or I mean the red and blue, sorry.
As we're going into Independence Day, Jonah and I wanted to bring out a little spirit. So I think I only have a blue shirt and he only has a red shirt, but that's how it worked out.
Worked out great. But you guys, if you have any questions, comment on it, the video, and we'll be glad to answer them. Thanks.
Don't scare them. It's like jumping rabbits.